Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is my favourite bags from my least favourite brands. I got the idea for this video because I realised how picky I am when it comes to luxury bags. I mean, a lot of people are due to them being so expensive, but I really am particular. So I thought I'd go through the brands which most of their bags I wouldn't look at twice. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Louis Vuitton. Now, maybe right at the beginning, when I became interested in, you know, designer handbags and luxury fashion and all that jazz, I loved the Louis Vuitton Alma in the Damier Ebene, as there was a lady who I went racing with, and she had that handbag and I absolutely loved it. But over time, Louis Vuitton I found just isn't for me. Back then I was partial to a gold hardware. Now I prefer to stick with silver as it matches the majority of my jewellery. It's just my preference. And a lot of Louis Vuitton bags do have the gold hardware, as does that Alma. Also, the shape of that Alma, just don't love it as much as I did then. And also the canvas, from the normal monogram to the azure to the ebene, it just doesn't excite me. And that's the whole thing with Louis Vuitton bags for me, really. They just don't excite me. There's nothing there which I find interesting or I find is very me as a whole. However, hence the point of this video, I do like the mini capucine. I saw at the back of it in the throw video a lovely tiny little pink pop of the mini capucines. And ever since I have had a look at them, and I can see that they're quite cute. The main put off for me for the capucines was, you know, the LV, which is quite obvious at the front of the bag. I'm not against logos, just I don't like them all the time. I don't like them overly prominent. But I believe you can take out the flap, put it over, and it disguises that. However, like I say, with that bag, I think one, I don't think it resells well. I don't intend to ever resell any of my bags, but you never know, and you know, they make them a rainy day where you need to. So that is a factor I do consider. And secondly, the bag is very expensive. For me, it just wouldn't be worth such an expensive bag to save for so long, which I would need to do for that handbag. So it's cute and I can appreciate it, and I enjoy seeing others wear it, but again, it's a bag I like, but I wouldn't go for. Other than that, I was really interested in the mini Speedy. Now, I know this contradicts everything I just said about the canvas. However, I have a lovely wool-ted baker coat in a colour that I think that bag would be very flattering with. I did actually almost buy that bag. I had money saved up for a handbag. And it isn't the vintage, like the old tiny, it isn't the new with the detachable strap. It's that one in the middle from a couple of years ago now, which, you know, everyone complains about you couldn't adjust the crossbody strap. And it was out of stock, but I one day just refreshed the tab. I think it was like either the middle of the night or early morning. I could put it in my bag. And I did. I never went through with it. It never popped up again. I was sort of wishy-washy, as I tend to be, which is very annoying. But my thought process behind that was, one, my mum had one of those bags. I remember it. You know, the history's there. Resale for that bag was insane. I'm not sure what it is now. I haven't checked. And it also did go with my winter outfits because I used that coat quite a lot during the winter. And with it being a canvas, if it had got rained on, the only thing would have been the vachetta strap, which I can't remember actually if it was treated vachetta in that. It wouldn't. Gosh, what's the terminology? Patina, I believe. Gosh. Patina over time, but I'm not too sure. But those two were the Louis Vuitton bags, if I had to buy any, the ones that I'd go for. There are also a lot of bag brands of which none of their bags I particularly like at all. One example is Chloe, or Chloe, however people pronounce it. The only bag that I don't completely really hate is, gosh, it's like their canvas bags, and they're really popular in the summer. However, they have the Chloe strap, and I feel like they'd also get really mucky really easily. Other than that, I can appreciate the style. With a lot of, fashion, luxury fashion, it's all a person's own preferences. I can appreciate pieces. They may not appeal to me or work for me. So Chloe bags for me are very boho. They just aren't my cup of tea. So Chloe, I couldn't find a bag on there that I remotely liked. But that's just the way it goes. So moving on to Gucci. Now, I almost bought the, gosh, there's a couple, the mini Dionysus. Now this was years ago when I was looking for a black mini everyday bag. I ended up going with my Jacquemus. I wanted something that wasn't overly expensive, also because I couldn't afford anything overly expensive, especially not for an everyday bag. But what drew me to that was the silver hardware. I didn't pull the plug, it was the leather version, as I think there was lots of ways to wear it, but a lot of it felt very craftsy. I just wanted a bag that was what it was from the start, and I'm quite happy with my choice. But now I wouldn't look at that bag. I have no interest in that. I have that place filled, and for me, even though my Jacquemus bag has gold hardware that adds silver, I still prefer my Jacquemus choice. The other bag was the 2020 pink Marmont. Now, super mini Marmont. Now, I remember it was COVID times, and I can't remember why I was on the Gucci website, but I was, and that bag had just come in the most beautiful pink colour. I love that shade of pink. I'll pop it up here. With silver hardware, and I wanted the perfect pink bag. It was crossbody, could probably make it into a shoulder moment if you were to craftsy around with it. But I didn't end up picking it up. I think it was because the Marmont had its time. The only thing was the annoying GG. Looking back, I wouldn't have been mad if I'd have bought that bag. I won't buy it now. I don't think they even do that colour. But to track it all down and pay the prices now. But I think it wasn't overly expensive at the time. I think it would have been a purchase if I had bought it then. I'd look now and think, I'm not mad that I bought that, or I think it was quite a good choice. It was very me. I think the only thing was the whole, it's a Marmont bag, and it had the Marmont GG, and I was it was 2020, so by then I'd been fed up of seeing all the fake Gucci belts, the GG everywhere. It just had a bad taste, the GG, I think, in a lot of people's minds. And it's really not that deep. It is just 2 letters in a certain font style. But there we are. Gucci bags also, which aren't for me, they have a lot of gold hardware. A lot of them are very casual, or the Gucci canvas, which I'm also not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the monogram. So they're just not really for me. However, I do love the Diana bag. I find it so elegant. I love that it's slightly different with the bamboo handles. It has a tiny little bit of gold hardware with the GG that I don't think is overly flashy, and it's just a lovely top handle bag, which is the sort of shape of a bag that I'm also drawn to. Okay, quickly, Stella McCartney. Now this is a very cool, I think they have a lot of vegan leather bags. The brand itself isn't for me, it just doesn't fit me really. However, there was, and I can't really remember the name of this perfectly, so Lord knows what's about to come out of my mouth. But the Falabella, that one, and it was mini, and it had some draping crystals over it, and I thought that would have made it absolutely lovely evening bag. They also do a similar style now with crystals, and I do enjoy that bag when it has all the crystals on it. I think it could be a different style of evening bag. Givenchy doesn't overly interest me, their handbags. I know the Antigona was a thing just as I was getting interested in luxury bags. Doesn't really appeal to me. I once tried on a Givenchy bag, mainly because of the colour of it. I'll pop it here. It was a pink. I think it was just over 1,000, so pricing not bad. However, that would have dropped in value like that. It is a factor for me. And that's a really taboo topic, the pricing and reselling and all that jazz, but it is a factor for me. So yeah, it was a pretty bag. I loved that colour, silver hardware. I actually enjoyed it, trying it on. There was multiple ways I could wear it. I think when I did some research in it, you had to be careful because the way it fastened, there wasn't a closure. I had heard stories of like slipping out. I'll try and put it up if I can because I'm not describing it well at all. But I thought that was a very pretty bag, and if I had to have any Givenchy bag, it would be that one. So Bottega, the brand of the moment, the cool girl brand, very trendy, quite street. I can really appreciate their bags. The colours they come out with as well, beautiful. And I enjoy looking at Bottega pieces, whether they're weird and wacky, platypus net sandals, or the pouch bag, which would be my choice. I have had a look at their pouch bag in a pink. I feel they do some very cool variations of the pouch bag, and like I said, Bottega with their colours, beautiful. So that would be my choice, but the rest of the styles of the bags are just a little cool and trendy for me. This one, ooh, a little touchy subject. This next brand is Alexander Wang. Now, brands and scandals. Wang, I believe, and it's sort of almost ignorant of me putting this on here without fully doing my research, but I believe it was like a year or two ago now, there were some allegations come out against Alexander Wang, which sort of put a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't follow up. I do not know whether those allegations went forth or it turned legal, or whether he was found guilty, not, whether it didn't even get there, I'm not sure. I do have an Alexander Wang bag, which I don't have with me today, but I'll pop it up here. And if I was to isolate the brand from the product itself, I absolutely love that bag. The pricing was amazing, quality was there-ish. I do have a fault with it, but it's not anything major. I love the sort of novelty aspect of it. It was one of those lunch bags. I find Alexander Wang not to be too expensive at all. They are a little more streetweary, however I do see lots of pieces which I do enjoy, and it comes down to whether you do isolate you know, the brand from the product. And I find, you know, Dolce & Gabbana, now that was something that I have done a little research on, and that's why I've never even looked at a Dolce & Gabbana piece. And it also, there's a huge discussion you can have behind this, between, you know, when you see influencers you do enjoy online with those pieces from those brands that have had scandals such as Dolce & Gabbana, how much responsibility you put on a person for being aware of everything, you know, that goes on, and supporting, or whether they themselves isolate in your... I feel like it's a very messy topic, and I word garbled then. It's a topic I'd like to discuss, but I'd have to sit down and write all my points down so it wasn't just jibber jabber at you. So Dolce & Gabbana, completely write that one off, because for me that is just a no-no. Wang, I need to obviously do a lot more research, but moving that aside for a second, if that wasn't the case, there are Wang bags I'd love. Last night I saw on Farfetch this cute little pink satin bag. I'm a sucker for a satin. That I'd love as a fun evening bag, going out bag. Finally, I'm going to be one in a million here, Chanel. Okay, first of all, price points, ridiculous. Secondly, for me, as a young person, the viewpoint of them that they seem more of a stress and a hassle than everything else. It doesn't interest me enough to go through, to spend the money and to possibly have all those issues. These days, I don't think you get a luxurious enough experience. It just seems like a lot for not a lot of gain in the fact that I don't love those styles of bags enough. The quilting for me, I can appreciate, and don't get me wrong, I can see a Chanel bag and think, ooh, that's beautiful, but is it enough for me to save and save for that bag no. The only things I go for is perhaps a vintage piece. I mean, I'm swaying a little more into vintage in general at the moment. Looking at least. A tweed mini or any form of bag in a tweed, because that for me excites me. I love tweed, I love a boucle, I love those fabrics. Chanel's the place to go. I find that the mini bags, actually, the pricing isn't too awful. It sits around, what, £3 now? Just above £3, which I don't think is too excessive in the whole scale of luxury bags right now. There is lots of tweed Chanel bags I've seen and I love. I think when the day comes, I know that I want a Chanel tweed mini and I have the money there and there's one that I like or can find, I can see that being in my collection. However, in terms of the other ones, a classic flap doesn't overly excite me. Neither does, you know, the Business Affinity, the Boy, you know, especially not the 90, like nothing in terms of their leather pieces do anything for me really. And I know I'll be one in a million there. That's just how I feel. So that is it for this video. And yeah, they were my opinions. I know people won't really agree with them, but there we are. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good day, evening, whatever time of day it is for you, and I will see you in my next video because I'm about to go out for dinner. So